Unholy Case Files, The Wing That Was. On October 17th, 1937, flames gutted the ash wing of the city library. Official reports cite faulty wiring. Survivors whispered of something smuggled inside. "They told us not to speak of it, but the books, those books, were never meant for daylight." The ash wing housed the library's restricted stacks, occult treatises, court transcripts sealed by judges, and personal papers donated anonymously. In the fire's wake, only ashes and rumors remained. But each year, on the anniversary of that fire, some patrons report seeing a corridor where none exists, shelves flickering behind blank walls, the smell of scorched paper in an empty stairwell.
"I was on the third landing. The door was open. I swear there was someone there, shelving books. A woman in a gray dress. When I blinked, gone."
They call her the librarian, but no official record of her employment exists. My name is Trinity Holmes, and I don't believe in coincidences anymore. It's late, the kind of late where coffee goes cold in the mug before you can take the first sip. My office smells like toner and stale rain. Case files sprawl across my desk, lined up like soldiers, each one a mystery I couldn't leave alone. I'm half typing a new entry, something about a Louisiana ferry disappearance, when my phone buzzes. Unknown number. No avatar, just text.
"The wing opens tonight. Do you remember me?"
I freeze, thumb hovering above the screen. I've gotten strange messages before. Tips, confessions, threats. But this one lands with the weight of déjà vu, as if someone had been reading over my shoulder for months. A second buzz.
"Third landing, north stairwell, midnight."
I check the timestamp, 11:03. Whoever's sending these knows I'm awake. I type back before I can talk myself out of it. "Who is this?" 3 dots pulse, then
"A librarian, lost, but not gone."
My breath fogs the window beside my desk. Down on the street, the neon flicker from the old theater spells, "Now playing," but the title's burned out. I rub my eyes. Another text arrives.
"You stood at the door once. You looked, but didn't see."
A chill runs the length of my spine. I have stood at that stairwell, the north stairwell of the city library, researching the disappearance of Mrs. Waverly's nephew just last year. I remember the plaque commemorating the ash wing fire, a brass square so tarnished the date was barely visible. I dig through my folders until I find my old notes on the library. The fire was a footnote in a larger case, but here it is.
"Ash wing, restricted stacks, burned 1937. Staff casualties, unknown."
Underlined twice, in the margin. A doodle of a door that shouldn't be there. The phone buzzes again.
"Find the blueprints."
I open my laptop, fingers trembling, and type, "City Library, ash wing floor plan." Most hits are urban legend blogs, but buried in the archives of a local historical society's website is a scan of the original 1910 plans. The PDF is watermarked and grainy, but the ash wing is there, a broad rectangular annex extending west where the main hall is now. I overlay it with a modern map. The ash wing's footprint lines up with the staff offices and a service corridor, a corridor I've walked at least twice, thinking it just dead-ended. Another text.
Tonight the doors align. Bring nothing that burns.
I glance at the candle guttering on my desk and snuff it out. My reflection in the dark window looks pale, my eyes wide. It's the expression of someone already in too deep. I scroll further down the blueprint. In the margin, a faint pencil note, maybe from some long-forgotten architect.
Quiet archives, lower level.
I can't tell if it's an arrow or a warning. The phone buzzes yet again.
Do not hesitate. Do not read aloud. I will guide you.
I mutter, guide me where? But don't type it. Instead, I print the blueprint, fold it into my coat pocket, and grab my recorder. I tell myself this is just another case, but the air already feels different, thinner, as if the city is holding its breath. I switch on my recorder. Case file, working title, The Wing That Was. Received anonymous texts claiming access to lost section of city library. Anniversary of the 1937 fire. Coordinates provided. Heading there now. The words sound strange in my own voice, like I'm narrating someone else's dream. I shut off the recorder and I look at the phone one last time. The unknown number is still typing, the dots pulsing like a heartbeat.
Remember, Trinity, midnight.
I lock my office, step into the hallway, and feel the night air wrap around me like a second skin. The Wing That Was, research and setup. The streets of downtown glisten like spilled mercury, neon and sodium lights stretching themselves thin across the wet asphalt. It's October in Louisiana. The air still holds a trace of summer's breath, but there's a crisp edge now, a whisper of winter at the hem of the night. I pull my coat tighter as I drive. The library rises ahead like a stone galleon run around in a sea of streetlights. Its columns streaked black where smoke once poured out. Its marble steps patched with newer stone. Someone tried to hide the scars, but the building wears them anyway, like a dragon's scales grown over old wounds. Recorder clicks on. Case file. The Wing That Was. Approaching the city library. The ash wing's footprint aligns with current staff offices and a sealed corridor. Received instructions to arrive before midnight. I park under a dripping oak. It leaves whispering secrets down my windshield. My phone buzzes again. That same faceless number.
000.493. Ash. 126.6 R. Midnight. North stairwell. Third landing. Do not bring matches.
I frown at the dewy numbers. Old cataloging for chemistry? Witchcraft? Hard to tell. The last text glows on my screen. Do not bring matches. The air smells faintly of burnt cider. From here, the library looks normal. Late shift librarians gone home. Just a security guard inside at the front desk. But the windows on the north side are dark, like eyelids pressed tight. Voiceover, custodian.
They built that wing wrong from the start. Deep stacks, narrow corridors, no fire breaks. After the fire, they bricked over what they couldn't scrub. I was a page there in 53. Saw doors appear where no doors should be. They told me, don't go in, don't look in.
I can almost hear him as I walk the perimeter, gravel crunching under my boots. The building stone is cool, but every now and then a pulse of heat rises through it, like a memory surfacing. Documentary voiceover, local historian. The ash wing contained private donations, papers, grimoires, diaries from river captains, and plantation heirs. The fire burned so hot it fused marble to steel, but there are whispers the wing wasn't destroyed. It slipped. A room doesn't burn. It moves. Their voices nestle in the back of my mind, like two pages from different books pressed together. I check my watch, 11:36. My car keys tremble in my palm, as if they already know. I've done weirder things for stranger leads, but this feels different. Not a haunting exactly, a summoning. Inside the car, I sit behind the wheel, recorder still running, thinking aloud. I don't know who's texting me. I don't know what's waiting past that stairwell. But the blueprint matches, and the date matches. I keep telling myself it's just research, but it doesn't feel like research. It feels like I'm being filed somewhere. My phone buzzes again.
No matches, no flame, no spoken names.
I remember what the historian said about rooms that move, and what the custodian muttered about doors that shouldn't be. The library's silhouette against the sky looks like a sleeping animal, ribs rising and falling with the wind. Walking the perimeter. I cross the street and circle to the back of the library. The north stairwell juts out like a spine. 3 landings with a tall window at each level. Through the glass, darkness, and something like shelves. My breath leaves a pale print on the window pane. Another buzz.
Do not hesitate.
I whisper to the dark window. You've got my attention. Documentary intercut. Old news clip. 5 dead, 14 missing in last night's inferno. The fire chief called it a freak electrical surge. Unconfirmed reports of staff retrieving rare volumes moments before the blaze. The city promises a full investigation. The tape ends with a hiss. I slide my hand over the cold stone wall. Under the grime, the marble's veins look like ink drawings. Maps of veins and rivers, and something more intricate than chance. The building hums faintly under my palm, a library-sized tuning fork. Trinity's ethical crossroads. Back at my car, I jot notes in my field book. The question sits there like a splinter. Why me? Why now? I know how this works. Curiosity, like fire, eats as much as you feed it. Step into the wing tonight, and I might never step out the same. But another voice, the one that drives me to dig up bones no one else wants disturbed, whispers that some debts reach across decades, waiting for someone to pay attention. I pull the blueprint from my coat and unfold it under the dome light. The lines tremble faintly, or maybe that's just my hand. The ash wing is a ghost in ink, a shape where there should be nothing. In the margin, someone long ago wrote, "Quiet archives." Final preparations. I press record one more time. Decision point. Do I enter at midnight as instructed, or log this as an anomaly and walk away? The anonymous texts appear to have knowledge of my previous investigations. I am compelled. The phone buzzes again.
Midnight, north stairwell, 3rd landing. I will guide you.
I breathe out slowly. My reflection in the window looks like someone I almost recognize. My hand closes around the recorder, and the decision makes itself. Crossing the threshold draft. The wing that was. The library looms even larger after hours. The windows like shut eyes. I slip around the back to the staff entrance, just as the text instructed. The lock gives way to my borrowed key card, with a muted click. Inside, the air hits me, dry and metallic, with a faint sweetness, like scorched paper sprinkled with ozone. Each breath tastes like a page about to burn. Security cameras flicker on their wall-mounted monitors, frames stuttering, then freezing on blank corridors. In the split second between frames, I swear I see someone moving among the stacks. A tall silhouette with an armload of books. Recorder on, a whisper. Inside the city library, 11:47 a.m. Ozone smells strong. Security feels unstable. Proceeding to north stairwell. My boots echo as I cross the marble lobby. The building feels hollowed out, as if every word has been sucked from its books. Only the hush remains, heavy as velvet. At the north stairwell, the brass rail is cool under my hand. The window on the third landing is black glass, reflecting me and nothing else. My phone vibrates.
Stand still. Wait.
I do. My breath rises in the dim light. 11:59. Somewhere deep in the building, a clock strikes once. Then it happens. The blank wall at the end of the landing ripples. A stone curtain pulled aside to reveal a long hallway lined with shelves. Not real shelves, not yet. Flickering like an old film reel, edges fraying with light. The smell of ash blooms around me. My phone buzzes again.
Enter. Row C. Shelf 14. Drawer 3.
I step forward, phone flashlight trembling, casting a thin cone of light onto books that aren't fully there. Their spines fade in and out, titles writhing like glyphs I can't read. I whisper into my recorder. Midnight exactly. Lost wing manifesting. Corridor beyond the landing. Seems to extend west into what should be staff offices. I cross the threshold. The floor feels soft, like walking on layers of old paper. The door behind me closes without a sound. Inside, strange phenomenon unfold with each step. Moths drift across the aisle, delicate, gray-winged, but when one brushes my cheek, it disintegrates into ash. The ash hangs in the air like a suspended constellation. From the corners of the ceiling, ink drips upward, black rivulets rising against gravity, coiling into invisible jars above. The smell of it, metallic and sweet, fills my nose. Whispers ripple through the stacks. The sound of pages turning without books. 1,000 shhs of unseen readers. My light hits a table where 3 chairs sit. One chair is charred. The other are empty. Another text.
Do not read aloud.
The letters glare on my phone like a commandment. I obey. I edge deeper. The wing around me shivers, growing more solid the further I go. Like a dream remembering itself. Floorboards creak under my weight, though they weren't there a second ago. I keep my eyes on the call numbers inked into my palm from earlier. C14-3. This way, then left. The shelves smell of cedar smoke and something older, a scent I can't name, but which makes my teeth ache. Another buzz.
Faster. It fades.
I walk faster, breath fogging the air, my footsteps muffled. The flashlight beam catches a brass nameplate embedded in the floor. Quiet Archives. Somewhere, faint and far, a fire alarm rings a single dull note. I record softly. Inside Phantom Wing, observed ash moths, anti-gravity ink, auditory phenomenon, heading to designated drawer. At the next turn, the shelves open into a narrow reading room. The walls are half burned, ceiling beams exposed like ribs. A portrait hangs crookedly. A woman with dark hair in a librarian's bun, her face obscured by soot. For a heartbeat, I think she turns her head toward me. I keep walking. The drawer waits somewhere ahead, and the wing around me trembles, as if aware of my search. Inside the phantom wing, the aisle narrows until it's a throat, and I am a word being swallowed. Shelves rise on either side, half solid and half smoke, their wood grain rippling like water under wind. The books perched there look undecided about their obligations to reality. Some show titles I can't parse, a script that seems to look back. Others are blank, paper without ink, names without bodies. I keep my light pointed at the floor to avoid temptation. The beam slides over a carpet of fine ash, and there, boot prints not mine, small and clean-edged, as if pressed moments ago. I crouch and touch one. It collapses at the edges, drifting upward like breath on a cold morning. Recorder whispering. Interior, phantom wing, aisles unstable, books ambiguous, following guidance to C 14-3. My phone pulses in my hand. The text is immediate, precise, like a finger laid across my mouth. Do not read aloud. I won't, I tell the empty air. My voice is soft and is swallowed by the stacks. It has the feeling of a promise made to a sleeping thing. The portraits begin in row B, gilt frames clinging to soot-stained walls. Women mostly, hair slicked back into buns of the old profession. Men with librarian's sternness and tired eyes. Long, dead faces rendered in oils the color of old tea. Wherever I stand, they are almost looking at me. Move one pace left, and their gaze is a fraction behind. Move right, and it is a fraction ahead. A painter's trick, I tell myself, though my neck prickles as if brushed by the shadow of a fingertip. I pass a brass fire bucket fixed to a pillar. It has melted into a drooping tulip. In its warped reflection, a figure stands behind me, tall and book-armed. I turn quick. Nothing there but aisles collapsing into aisles, like mirrors facing mirrors. The next text arrives as my light grazes a warped glass pane that might have once been a door window. Do not look at the mirrors. I angle the beam down again. Noted. The wing settles a little. Floors that were paper sponge firm become boards, then stone, then something older than both. My feet find a rhythm. Whispering follows, the soft hush of pages being turned by unseen hands, the unending patience of readers who never grew tired. A ceiling leak was once there. Black ink still climbs in reverse along the corner angle, a slow river going home to its source. On a table scabbed with burn marks sits a ledger the size of a tombstone. Its brass corners are bitten by flame. The lock is fused but broken. Above it hangs a placard. Circulation restricted. The letters look as if they've been stamped into a thin layer of soot. I don't touch the latch. I don't even think of it as a latch. I think of it as a mouth. Still, I lean close enough to see that the ledger has no pages left. It is packed with something harder, thin boards, and when I breathe across the gutter, a drift of ash lifts and settles like a moth dying again. Another text, sharper. Leave the doors closed. I'm trying, I whisper. Believe me. I move on. The architecture grows contradictory. A corridor curves to meet itself in an impossible loop. A flight of 5 stairs becomes 6 as I climb it. then 4 when I step back down. The air is warm and carries a scent like old cedar chests and the blue breath of matches blown out. It tastes almost sweet. Memory, if memory had a taste. Row C. My heartbeat times itself to my footfall. Shelf 12, 13, each section numbered by metal tabs blistered by heat. Then 14. The drawer handles here are blackened. On 14, third down, a handle hangs by a single screw. I reach for it and pause, because something in the corner of my eye has moved. At the end of the aisle is a tall pane of glass, crazed with faint silver lines, like frost. It leans against the wall, no longer in a frame. In it, the aisles behind me are crowded with shadows that have the shapes of people. They bend and shelve. They pass each other. They turn. And every last one looks at me with the white oval of an unread page where the face should be. I shut my eyes, count to 3, open them. The glass shows only my light and the dull ghost of fire char. The shadow people are everywhere. I don't ask where. I angle the beam down and focus on the work. The handle creaks. The drawer slides halfway, stops, then continues with the slow reluctance of damp paper pulled from a tight envelope. Inside is a shallow tray, lined with felt turned to powder. The only object within is a key, old iron, its bow shaped like a hollowed teardrop. The shaft is heat black. The warding teeth are sharp as a whisper. Key retrieved, I tell the recorder. Destination unknown. Proceeding with caution. The phone buzzes before I can pocket it. Left. 3 rooms. Second door. Key fits. Do not open. Deliver only. Do not open keeps coming up, I murmur. Understood. As I pocket the key, something in the drawer sighs out of breath. The felt powder ripples, as if a very small creature buried there has turned in its sleep. I close the drawer carefully, as one closes the eyes of a friend, not to hide them, but to protect the living from what they might show. 3 rooms left. The first room is a catalog room, whose cabinet drawers jitter in their slots, as if with the memory of frantic hands. Cards spill, yellow and brown. When my light touches them, the typed words reverse and flow back into the keys of long-gone typewriters. The second room is a microfilm room, where the reels turn by themselves, spooling grainy faces that, if I stared, might have names I know. The third room waits with its door half shut, the air seeping out like a low sigh. A small placard hangs crooked. Rare books, access by appointment only. The only is underlined in a pen that the fire could not quite erase. I fit the key. It resists, then accepts. Iron sighing into iron. A click the size of a memory. I don't push the door, because I don't have to. It opens inward, politely. A blackened reading room sprawls beyond, its ceiling beams exposed and charred. Ragged light falls through a hole in the roof and gathers to itself as if it were also a living thing. The ash in here is deeper, some of it fused to the floor in grassy plates. The smell of heat is concentrated, like a story told too often. Tables squat like stones in a riverbed after the river has gone. On the center table is the object I came for. It is a case, shallow and rectangular, wrapped tightly in linen that had once been white, then gray, now a color with no name. The cloth bears heat-blistered patterns, like fingerprints burned into the weave. A wax seal squats like a red eye at one end. The impression is of something that might be a tree, or might be a candelabra, or might be an antlered crown, depending on the angle of the light. Beside the case, burned into the wood of the table itself, letters dark as pitch, are these words:
Return to the quiet archives. Do not open.
I swallow. The ash in my throat tastes like someone else's voice. I reach for the case, and the table beneath my hand throbs faintly, like a heartbeat conducted through oak. Found it, I say, but it comes out without sound. I try again, and the second time my voice returns. Sealed case present, linen wrapped, wax stamped, instruction carved in the table. Return to the quiet archives. Do not open. I lift it. It is not heavy. It is exactly the weight of something that wants to be carried. The linen bites against my palms, and the vibration returns. So slight I could pretend it was the tremor of my own pulse. Except I know the rhythm of my pulse, and this is other. Slow, resolute, like a name being written very carefully. My phone burns cold in my pocket. I pull it out and raise it to the case as if to photograph, and it buzzes with a message so immediate and intimate it feels like breath against my ear.
If opened, it writes you next.
I lower the phone. I understand, I say to no one that I can see. A second message arrives, a softer echo.
Please.
That word lands like a coin dropped into a wishing well. It doesn't echo right away. You wait for it, and when it finally comes, it always sounds deeper than it should. I look around the room because something in me insists on acknowledging my witnesses. The portraits here, if they were ever portraits, are melted to brown ghosts on the wall. A globe near the corner has slumped into a geography without borders. On the far side, a tall pane of glass leans against a bookcase, and in it the reading room repeats. And in the third repetition down the line, a woman with her hair in a bun watches me with eyes the color of blackout pages. She raises her hand. I do not wave back. I do not look for long. As I turn, a siren rises somewhere far away and impossibly near. A single wail, then another, thinning into the air like ribbon. There are no roads here, I think. The sound is the memory of a road, the ghost of tires. Another text. Quick.
Leave. The door's closed. Get out.
Leaving, I tell the room, the recorder. Myself? But the case is warm now. It warms my hands. It warms my wrists. It warms an old scar on my forearm from a summer I don't talk about. My thumb finds the edge of the wax seal. I do not intend it. My body, trader of curiosity, knows how to pick at loose ends. I hold the case at the height of my heart, as if returning a book I was never meant to borrow, and the vibration intensifies, gentle but insistent. A heartbeat will do anything to be heard. There are objects in the world that are traps, not because they close on you, but because they open you. I know this. I have catalogued them. A match is a door disguised as a stick. A name is a key pretending to be a sound. A case, I think, is both. Don't, I tell my hands, and find that they obey. Before I leave, I circle the table once, because circles are how we end things without endings. On the edge of the case, where the linen frayed, a thread lifts and curls like a question mark. I tuck it back gently, as if tucking hair behind a sleeping child's ear. On the far side of the room, a door stands, warped shut. The paint on it has boiled into blisters. Above the knob, written not in burn but in hand like graphite, are 3 words. After you leave. I don't test it. I don't even breathe in its direction. I have never in my life wanted less to know what is on the other side of the door. As I step back into the hall, the wing adjusts its posture, like a cat conceding that you may pass. The whispering grows. The ash moths are more numerous here, rousing themselves in soft gray flurries. Their wings beat the air into new kinds of dust. A glass pane I've been avoiding leans exactly where I must pass. In it for a moment, a figure walks beside me, matching my stride. She is taller. Her hands are ink-stained. Her face is the face of a page with only a title at the top and an ex libris at the bottom and nothing between. I don't look away, exactly. I let my eyes slide to the case and hold there. My phone buzzes yet again, and I am grateful for the interruption of living electricity. Straight, then left. Do not run. The siren sound thins to a wire, twangs, stops. The building takes a long breath, and I realize I have been holding mine. I pass the catalog room again. The drawers are still. A single card has drifted loose onto the floor, and as I go by, the typed letters reconstitute themselves into a name I refuse to read. I step over it as if over a sleeping snake. The portraits in row B are less interested in me now, or pretending to be. A man's eyes are 2 coins sunk in honey. A woman's mouth is a seam. Between them a blank painting hangs, and I am in it for a moment, crossing a space where there should be a person. The painting will remember that I did this. I know, because I will. I reach the last bend, the one that will empty me back onto the 3rd landing. Ahead, the blank wall ripples as if disturbed by a wind that exists only on the other side. The wing shudders, and a line of ash sifts down from nowhere to draw a horizon at my knees. My phone buzzes one last time before the crossing.
Do not look back.
I do not. I will, later in a dream, turn and see the wing burn again with soundless flame, while a woman stands at the far end and shelves a book with hands as steady as God's disappointment. But in the moment, I go forward with the case in my hands, and I keep my eyes on the place where the world will become ordinary. The boundary has no temperature. One step, I am in a corridor that smells like the inside of a burnt cedar chest. And the next step, I am on stone stairs, smelling of paste and varnish and time. The wall is only a wall. The air is just air. A light somewhere buzzes to itself, the sound of a neon insect. I let out the breath I've been holding and tuck the case under my coat like a rain baby. The window over the landing shows the city night, sodium lights turning puddles into small polished coins. For a heartbeat, my reflection is accompanied by someone else's, taller, ink-stained. Then it's just me again, the woman who did not open the thing she came to take. My phone screen glows coolly. New text. It is not a command this time. It is a benediction that knows better than to claim the name.
Thank you.
A second message arrives as I put my foot on the stair down to the world.
Return to the quiet archives. Do not open. Do not delay.
I won't, I say, which is the only promise I can make. I start down. The 3rd step creaks like a small animal changing its mind and going back into the brush. As I descend, the security monitors in the distant library stutter, flicker, resume, as if a channel has been changed and changed back. The last moth collapses into ash on my sleeve and spots me with a constellation that will survive the first rain. There is a soundlessness that only comes after a fire. It has the shape of a crowd holding its breath. I carry it with me to the staff door, through to the night. The library slumbers behind me, all shut eyes and old wounds. The case thuds softly against my ribs in the rhythm of a word I don't know yet and won't, if I am careful, ever have to learn. Escape and collapse. The case in my hands is warm as an animal, but the air around me turns brittle and cold. Somewhere deep in the phantom wing, a hinge squeals. a drawn-out sound like steel pulling out bone. The rows shudder. Dust sifts down in thin veils. Recorder clicks on, low whisper. Wing destabilizing. Attempting exit. I retrace my path toward row C, but the shelves lean inward as if conspiring. Books drop without falling, dissolving mid-air into ash that drifts up instead of down. The floorboards ripple, then vanish in panels, leaving patches of blank nothing. I have to step across the islands in a paper sea. The sound of fire begins as a hush and swells to a roar just behind me, though no heat follows it. A siren threads through the roar, that same impossible fire engine echo, rising and fading with my pulse. My phone buzzes in my coat pocket, almost frantic.
Straight. Do not hesitate. Left. 2 doors. Stairs down.
I obey, moving faster. Case clutched to my ribs. The wing shrinks around me, aisles drawing tight like a throat swallowing its last word. A portrait crashes off the wall without a sound, landing in shards of empty frame. In the shards, I glimpse not my reflection, but 100 flickering faces. The librarians, perhaps, or everyone who has ever come this far and failed to leave. Their mouths open in unison, whispering a word I refuse to hear. The shelves implode gracefully, whole rows collapsing into columns of smoke that rise like black waterfalls in reverse. Above, the ceiling rafters flare orange, then peel back into the suggestion of a sky. I reach the first door. It's locked, or maybe it's just pretending to be. Another text.
Back door. Go now. Do not stop.
I pivot and push into a corridor that didn't exist on my way in. It smells of wet copper and book glue. The walls tremble as if someone on the other side is pounding to be let out. Keep moving, I whisper to myself. Keep moving. A glass pane leans against the far wall. For an instant it shows me running past with the case, but in its reflection I am empty-handed, and the librarian carries the case instead. I look away before it can change again. My phone buzzes. Stairwell ahead. Maintenance door. 1 minute. I run. The floor beneath me turns from ash to tile, to something like stone. The case hums against my palm. A heartbeat faster now, impatient or frightened. The roar behind me takes on a voice, many voices, whispering catalog numbers and author names. Row after row blinks out. It feels as if I'm outrunning a sentence, trying to erase itself. Another text. Do not look back. Do not speak. Almost there. I press forward. The last stretch of corridor narrows to a point. Beyond it, a metal stair twisting down like a spine. I hurl myself onto it and descend. Each step is real only after my foot lands. Halfway down, the lights gutter. Moths made of ash spill past me in a living snowfall, brushing my face with wings as thin as the paper and old Bibles. I burst through a maintenance door at the bottom, just as the clock strikes 1 a.m. The door swings inward behind me and hits nothing. There is no corridor on the other side now, only a blank concrete wall. The main library yawns before me, real again, mundane and vast. Fluorescent lights flicker in the staff hall. Somewhere, a cleaning cart rolls, the squeak of its wheels absurdly normal. I press my back to the cool cinder block and close my eyes. My lungs feel lined with soot. Recorder clicks on, voice trembling. Exited Phantom Wing, 1 a.m. exactly. Emerge through maintenance door. Corridor behind me has reverted to blank wall. I force myself to look. The door stands there, ordinary, painted industrial gray. Beyond it, no wing, no stairwell, no ash moths, just a utility closet stacked with mop heads and a faint smell of pine sol. The case still vibrates in my arms, but quieter now, like a cat purring itself to sleep. The wax seal glints under the fluorescent light, perfectly intact. Another text, softer than the rest, appears on my screen. Safe. Thank you. I thumb the recorder off and lean my forehead against the door. The building is just a building again. My heartbeat, though, still belongs to the wing. Out front, the marble steps wait under the sodium lamps. The city itself is cool, washed clean by a brief, secret rain. I cross the library slowly, half expecting the shelves to appear in the corners of my eye. They don't. The ghost librarian has gone silent. At the door, I turn once, not to look back into the wing, but to honor it, the way you do a grave you've left undisturbed. The air tastes faintly of burned cedar and the ghost of ink. Then I step into the night, the case under my arm, and the city library behind me wears its scars like quiet medals, unaware of what it almost revealed. Aftermath. The first thing I do once I'm outside is breathe, long and low, like I've surfaced from a black ocean. The city library looms behind me, its marble face wet with dew. From this distance, it's just stone and columns. But in my chest, the phantom wing still flickers like an afterimage of one eye. I cradle the case against my ribs, as if it might slip back into the other place. If I loosen my grip, it no longer vibrates, but it radiates a faint warmth, like a memory cupped in two hands. Recorder on, voice steady but hoarse. Exited the ash wing, case retrieved, condition intact. No sign of pursuit, library fully normal. I glance down at my phone. The screen is dark except for one text. Return to the quiet archives. Do not open. Do not delay. No address, no instructions beyond that. Just a directive as simple and impossible as a riddle. Back at my car, I set the case on the passenger seat. Under the dome light, the scorched linen seems to drink the glow, the wax seal glinting faintly red. My fingers itch toward the clasp, an involuntary tremor, like muscle memory from a dream I haven't had yet. I think about every box I've ever opened, every drawer pulled, every sealed envelope slit. Curiosity is a vice dressed up as a virtue. It's made my career, but it's also marked me. I pull my hand back. I won't open you, I murmur, and to my own surprise, the car seems to exhale, windows fogging slightly, then clearing. I drive home with the case seatbelted like a passenger. The roads are empty, slick with rain. Streetlights bend and shimmer in the puddles as if I'm driving over molten brass. At the office. By the time I reach my office, it's nearly 2 a.m. The case goes on the desk, atop a stack of files about disappearances that suddenly feel trivial. The wax seal looks older now, cracked but still whole. I set up my camera and make a brief video record of its appearance. Not for publication, just so later, if I begin to doubt, I'll have proof of the weight, the texture, the fact that I once held something impossible. There I sit, elbows on knees, phone in my palm, waiting for another text. None comes. The ghost librarian is silent. The silence feels deliberate. A door shut softly. Documentary voiceover, epilogue. The ash wing burned, but some rooms aren't extinguished so much as moved sideways. Once a year, the doors align. Once a year, someone can pass through. The books there are still checked out. Overdue beyond measure. The tape clicks off. I lean back in my chair and look at the case. It's just an object now, but in its fibers, a story is still turning. I could tear off the linen. I could pry the wax with a butter knife. The contents would reveal themselves, and I would know. but at what cost? Another part of me, calmer, deeper, remembers the texts.
If opened, it writes you next.
I fetch an old bank deposit bag from my file cabinet, slide the case inside, and lock it. No ceremony, no ritual, just a zipper and a padlock. Then I scrawl a note on my legal pad. For quiet archives, to be held, not opened. I tuck the pad into my evidence box. In the morning, I'll find a secure storage location, a P.O. box, a safety deposit vault, someplace the wing won't think to look. For now, the best I can do is to let the case rest in the dark, unopened, like a question posed to a future self. At 3:33 a.m., my phone buzzes with a single notification, an empty text from the ghost librarian's number. No words, only a Dewey Decimal call number in the subject line, 000.000. Beneath it, a single symbol, like a keyhole drawn by a child. I screenshot it and set the phone down. When I look back a moment later, the notification is gone, replaced by a blank screen. On my nightstand sits a single library card. I didn't put it there. It's old, brittle, the size of my palm, stamped, returned. No name, no date. I slip it into the evidence box with the case. Recorder on, voice quieter. I went into a wing that shouldn't exist. I carried out an object I wasn't meant to see. I respected the librarian's warning. I didn't open it. This is the part of the story where people expect revelation. But sometimes you only get responsibility. Sometimes the secret isn't the prize, it's the price. I click off the recorder and let the silence fill the office. The case waits, sealed. The wing waits, gone but not gone. Next year, on the anniversary, the doors will align again. Maybe the librarian will call. Maybe someone else will go. I stand at the window, watching the city's early morning shimmer. The streetlights sway in the fog. Somewhere out there, shelves of books breathe in their sleep. In my palm, my phone vibrates one last time. This time the text is only a single word. Rest. I do. I turn off the light, leaving the office to its shadows. The case remains on the desk, a small, dark island in a tide of paper. I tell myself it's just another artifact, but in my bones it feels like a heartbeat that's learned my name.